The agenda today, we have two primary points that we're focusing on. The first is going to be an interview between our co-founder, Rajoshi Ghosh, and Jilong Kan from Flexport, where they're going to talk about building an insights system and business-aware AI. After that, we're going to bring on our research lead for AI, Anushra Gupta, to talk about the other 99% and building reliable AI without waiting for clean data. So largely there's this myth that exists that we have to have all of our data very hygienic before we can start using AI on top of it. And that inevitably slows things down tremendously when we're trying to build, iterate, and ship. So we want to take a look at the fact that that's actually kind of a myth, and you can go ahead and jump right in using AI without waiting for all that data to become more hygienic. All right. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. So I'm going to turn it over to Rajoshi and Jilong for our first segment.
Jilong is the Senior Director of Engineering at Flexport. He's been there for almost 4 years, and he's been leading some of their AI initiatives. One of the products is what we're going to be diving into, their Insights Builder. For those of you unfamiliar, Flexport is a global logistics and supply chain platform, and they coordinate global logistics from the factory to the consumer's door. The Insights Builder is the product that we'll be diving into, so no spoilers there. We'll dive into it in just a little bit. But Jilong, would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Rajesh. Thanks for having me today. My name is Jilong. I'm the Senior Director of Engineering for Flexport. I've been here for almost 4 years, and I'm leading the pretty much focusing on the operation technology teams in China, like the forwarding application, like a warehouse management system, and also covering some AI initiatives, like One-Side Builder is one of them. And also I'm covering the data domains and the infra domains as well. Yeah. Looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. Thanks again for joining us. And maybe just to start off, would love for you to tell us a little bit about what is the Insights Builder product, and how did it even start off? Like, was this something your customers wanted, or was this part of the roadmap for a while? Just tell us a little bit about the product.
Yeah, sure. Honestly, this builder just started with a simple observation, right? Like in our daily business, we continuously having our customer to ask us about where's my shipment, how's my transit time, over the past few months, and why my cost spikes, right, for the last quarter. So all those questions will involve wrangling several different dashboards and offline communication, and typically we're going to involve our AMA teams to help our clients to prepare data, right? Then we thought, what if the process would be fitting, right? If we can just empower our user to just simply ask a question, like in a conversation, a natural language manner. So that led us to imagine an interface, right? This Insight Builder, where users can type in the natural question, and the system gonna do all in the legwork, right? They can just fetch the right data, clean it up, and do the validation and generate summary. And in further, they can just show some charting, right? Like for user visibility kind of purpose. So yeah, I would say that's a very much a response to pain we saw on the ground, but also a chance that for us to proactively reimagine how analytics would work, like in the world powered by AI.
Got it. And around when did you start building the product, and when was it shipped out to your customers?
We started our internal version back to last October-ish, October or November. And then after we internally aligned and approved, then we kicked off the whole development work, and we wrote our alpha phase to our alpha clients back to this February, should be end of February, along with our winter release.
Okay, that's a pretty impressive timeline. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. And for those of you watching, we do have a demo a little bit later, so we will get to kind of see this in action. But while Jilong and I were chatting, sort of for this conversation, one of the things that really struck out to me was You mentioned having a really good data foundation that, you folks have maintained over the years. And I'd love to kind of hear about that. What was that data foundation like, and how did that help in sort of accelerating, your development of the Insights product?
Yeah, good question. So, for the domain, also like for supply chain especially, right? If you think about a higher overview of the whole industry, data is really the key to maintain a higher level of user experience. So what really like makes Flexport differentiated from the other, supply chain players adopting with the AI for data is that Flexport has already been accumulating like data for quite a long time that has been already used to serve our clients like daily data analytics use cases. And so before Insight Builder to be brought to the table, Flexport clients have already been able to query their Flexport data, through the capability of reporting and analytics in Client App. Client App is an external-facing platform Flexport built to encompass like lots of different capabilities there, like the shipment visibility and manage their like a PO and manage their like schedule, as also including the data, right? Like we have reporting feature there already be used by like tons of different clients. So that's the data foundation for Insight Builder. That being said, like we are reusing whatever we have already built to serve our clients' data analytics requirement. So that's the key, like we have already set a very good foundation for us to move on. So the users that they can access a bunch of well-defined analytics right now to gain the insights in different domains, right? Like the volume and the transit time and the invoicing. So navigate through all their data through a complicated reporting system to customize their reporting. For offline users, it's kind of a require some expertise and knowledge. Like you have to be familiar with the system. You have to know like what kind of fields to be included in which report and what's the relationship between different domains. So we already know, well, we have already collected quite a bit of feedbacks and also suggestions from our clients about, okay, how this kind of data navigation experience can be improved. So that really gives us a really, good, like a valuable kind of insights from our clients directly about like what could be the direction we can move towards for Insight Builder. So that basically we know what data matter to clients, and we know what we need to do to receive the way they access the whole data, and to facilitate the process like with AI, right? To basically deliver simply a question, ask like a experience like through the natural language. Yeah, that's like a way I say is the really critical to our success of Insight Builder. Yeah.
Got it. Who are typically the users of the platform? Your
Uh,
customers, like what are their profiles?
Yeah, for our platform, well, for app, that's the platform that we used to deliver quite a bit of a different capability to our clients, the whole like a Flexport forwarding clients. And
Right.
like we have the omni-channel business as well, right? What we are trying to do is like want to combine all those kind of different client profiles together to one single platform, right? With that combination, then all like different uh, types of clients, they can just benefit from all those kind of features and capabilities like in future.
Has the profile of the people who are using the platform changed after you've kind of introduced the AI-powered capabilities?
Um,
Because you said
I
they needed to be the familiar with the platform and the intricacies and like relationships between different data sources and things like that.
Yeah, I would say the client profile wise, not too much difference because like our platform has been there for quite a while.
Mm.
Our clients are really enjoying the features that we have already built to provide them, the visibility and the real time communication, as well as this kind of a signal like a view, right? Those kind of things. They really like it already. And but I think one difference that we have already been noticing is that with the Insight Builder delivery, so our clients are really, recognizing the, technology kind of advantage that a Flexport has over the other players, especially in AI domain, because we already, well, for as what I mentioned earlier, right? For Flexport, we don't really have to do quite a bit of a marketing job to ask different clients to come into our platform to use our new product, because we already have the foundation there. Users already be on the
Right.
platform. What we need to do is just to ship the high quality product to them, to ask them to try out our new capability powered by AI, then proactively engage with our clients to provide feedbacks. Then we just bring those feedback into our next iteration of the design builder. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And how do you kind of gauge success and adoption of this product? Like, are you folks monitoring? Because, like you said, these are the same users. They've been using, the features that you had even before the natural language capability. And now that you've introduced here, how do you folks measure, success, this being a successful rollout, right? What are the metrics that your team is monitoring to see if, this was a good rollout or not?
Yeah. So just to give a quick overview about the whole product lifecycle, right? Like we have already
Yeah.
launched our Instant Builder, the first version Instant Builder back to this March, end of February, early March. And what we are right now doing is to further, enhance our the system capability and experience to ensure that it's really digest our clients' feedbacks and to deliver some more even more exciting kind of feature to our clients to benefit their daily data analytics scenarios. And also we are targeting to put the Insight Builder to GA phase in this year's summer release. So what the focus area that we are trying to improve is more surrounding we need to have a better accuracy and a smarter conversation, as well as we want to build some agentic AI kind of features to really leverage the skills of LM to give our users some more benefit for the data analytics or a data insights gathering. Yeah. So back to your question, that what other major metric we are focusing on? That is more about the accuracy and the engagement, right? So accuracy wise, we have learned that trust takes a long time to build, right? If one bad answer can really shake the trust quickly, so we obsess
Yeah.
over the reliability. So that
Right.
basically means on the live side, so we have some guardrails. For example, if there are some empty result arose, then the system is gonna automatically try to explore options to correct the result and share with the user about what's the potential reasons. And at the same time, then the system is gonna trigger real-time kind of scoring. Then we have our QA folks offline to proactively check out those kind of low score cases and proactively to fix those root causes by the end teams and to hold the accuracy at a high bar, right? For offline evaluation wise, then we continue to collect authentic user questions to add them into the backend system, especially for our evaluation question bank, so that we can regularly run some evaluation jobs to keep driving the accuracy to a high level. And even further, then we will add those as a guardrail into our CI/CD pipeline to potentially block potential regressions. Yeah. And for
Got it.
engagement, we are actively working with our business team to bring more clients to give us feedbacks and to try out the new features, so that we can really keep the momentum and to make the system getting better as time goes.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and we are on an episode of the reliability call, so this is actually a topic that is super interesting, and we'll dive in just a little bit, dive in a bit more just in a little bit. One question that I had, which is related, which is that how, there's always new business rules, new sort of or rather business language phrases that is unique to Flexport, or maybe there's a new definition or a new data source that you need to bring in to your product. What is the process around keeping sort of this changing or new data in sync with the Insights Builder, so that you're always able to surface accurate, reliable answers for your customers?
Yeah. So that's a good question for sure. As the product got evolved, right? Like we are keeping onboarding different domains data onto Inside Builder, not only for external version but also for internal version. Because some data they are not suitable for external facing, but they are definitely valuable for our internal teams. So we have two different kind of verticals for different user personas. Um, and in foreign domains, like some data are not exclusive to some certain domains. For example, Cipit may have the invoiced amount data, right? But the custom domains may also have those data as well. So the trend that we have observed is that like those kind of potential conflict, especially surrounding the semantic and definition in DDL, will potentially cause LM to not able to differentiate what exactly is the user intention, what data I need to pull in to answer user's question, right? That's something we already like a facing, and the team has been actually innovatively working on the solution to make this appearance be like a most smooth. But first of all, the principle that we have been following is that we need to ensure that the data schema onboarded to the platform are justified to avoid the conflict as much as possible, right? It does make sense for us to have two different domains, but they have a relatively semantic kind of similar data to be onboarded together at the same time in one single database. That's something we need to do at the very beginning to ensure we are on the same page across different domains. And also, second, we're going to give enough training data to help our LLM to understand the differences and the suitable kind of response. If there are indeed some conflicts happens, right? Maybe they're like user, they pretty much we're going to ask some question in a really random manner, right? This make me just simply give some data,
Yeah.
right? Give some cost data, give some translate data. So those kind of questions need to be clarified. And once some clarification be done, then the system going to move ahead with some assumption. And that assumption need to be explicitly communicated with our clients to say, okay, I'm based on this assumption and to give you some data, right? Not feeling comfortable or you're going to finish something need to be changed, just tell me through a follow-up question. Yeah. So this kind of
Got
a
it.
manner is something we have been adopting to avoid the potential conflict at the very beginning. And as time goes, this is definitely not something totally avoidable, right? Last but not least, we want to keep collecting feedbacks from our internal folks and from our clients directly, so that we can
Got
just
it.
conduct an evaluation and test as much as possible to ensure the solution are consistent and robust.
Got it. You mentioned sort of training the LLM. So is that kind of how you can keep, is that part of how you keep your system aware of the business terms? Are you folks doing some post-training work with an LLM?
Yeah, I would say we are
Or is it
trying
at the
both.
semantic layer kind of thing? Yeah. Is it like metadata or is it like training the LLM?
Yeah, we have quite a bit of a different approaches to, well, in general, we have two methods to measure our system reliability. One's the field sort kind of accuracy, right? The other one is the zero sort accuracy. For field sort means we're gonna have some training data be available. Then whenever the user asks a question, the system is gonna automatically to leverage our RAG and to pull in some data directly from our backend, embedding model and to do the ranking and to tell LM this is something you can follow to try to answer user question. This is supported by some really well-defined kind of training data mechanism built by team. And the other one is the zero sort kind of accuracy. That basically means we have no kind of reference or training data available. Then what's going to be the behavior for our system to answer the user question, right? We are trying both ways to improve the accuracy. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Um, and yeah, I think we touched upon touched upon the kinds of things you folks are looking at accuracy, and I think from what I hear, like that is sort of like in your metrics of evaluation, accuracy is like sort of like the top kind of metric that you folks are internally looking at. What do you have any examples over the last few months that this product has been rolled out where you've had to kind of go back and change the way you built something or or rethink the product based on maybe certain interesting I'm going to use the word interesting responses right? Or changing definitions. Like how have the last few months been, and like tell us a little bit about that feedback loop of how you've built the system with the training data, or with the eval sets, and then a real world sort of use case that's had you've had to go back and change things.
Yeah, there's a lot. So just to give like two examples, right? Like one from the external client's point of view, and the other from the business teams. For the external ones, like we have been keeping talking with our clients directly for the past few months. We talk directly with our clients and the authentic user who are like willing to give us a feedback. Like for Flexport clients, like one of the privileges we have is that for those people, they are really some like visionary people who are willing to revolutionize their supply chain. That's why they choose Flexport as the go-to solution to help their supply chain. So those people are really, excited about AI. So they gave us a really valuable feedback about like how they feel about the AI as a builder and what's potential improvement that we can target for the like future enhancements. So one example that we get from the clients is that they really want to have our system to behave as the human assistant-like system. Basically means like they want to have the system be aware of, okay, I want to for example, if you were a user, right, you have some like a report somewhere, then the user want to say, okay, I want to get this report be regularly like alerted if some like abnormal case happen, right? Instead of like I proactively come into the platform to pull all those data. So I'm expecting your system to proactively do this for me instead of I come to the platform like to get it by myself. That's something we are really thinking is to be the direction we want to enhance in the future, right? So based on that, like we are revolutionizing our like backend architecture to empower this kind of a future possibility that we eventually have the existing AI kind of capabilities to be delivered to our clients. This is something we're gonna see along the way in beta phase. Yeah, we have some like a really cool feature will be rolled to our clients. The second one is for our internal like teams ourselves. That so far, if I remember correctly, we have already undertaken 3 times of like a fundamental kind of architectural revolution, right? From last like in November, we have done like 3 times kind of fundamental kind of re-architecturing for the system. That's all based on like the feedback we get from both internal and external people, and to rethink our future, our product, and also the limitation we have observed based on the up to date kind of architecture. Um, that suffers, but like that's valuable. That's a really valuable investment for us to keep it, like reiterate our decision and to say what we can do to deliver a better experience for our clients, like not only from the reliability perspective, but also from the security perspective and also the scalability perspective. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Are you
feel
able
like
to tell us a little bit about? Are you able to tell us a little bit about what maybe one of those instances, like what was the kind of feedback and what is the kind of re-architecturing that you had to do?
Yeah, for example, in our previous architecture, right, like the system is not that like aware, the super aware about like the previous context data. For example, if you ask a question to get a table, right, those kind of table data are not like persistent to the context. So next time, if you ask a follow-up question, the system is gonna rerun the query to get those data and to render a chart, for example, if you want to realize it. That may cause some like a different discrepancy between these two. Because maybe like at the very beginning, the LLM gave you like a cycle in, for example, like with ABC columns, right? But for the like a second turn, this LLM will give you a few more columns or give you like a few less like columns. That will really cause like an inconsistency for the experience. So that basically the reason, one of the reasons why I want to ensure that the backend kind of we call it supervisor node need to be aware of the previous context and data, so that like if there are some follow-up questions, then we don't have to rerun the whole process to get the like the SQL again and to run the execution again. Instead of just simply get those data from the previous context and to render, for example, the chart like for the user.
Got it. Okay. Got it. And maybe this is a good time for us to, if you are willing to just share your screen and show us a little bit about the product and how somebody would use it. That'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Just to give a quick demo about like our
Yeah.
system. Let me see. Yeah, this is the landing page of the Insight Builder. Generally speaking, we have a pretty like a simple layout here. Like left panel will be some session history, and the
Mm-hmm.
main like area is the conversation, the chatbot areas. Wanted to notice that like because I'm logging as like a internet user, so the look and feel will be kind of different. But like
Mm-hmm.
this will be enough to showcase the general flow of the system. For example, if I want to have a pretty standard question be answered by the Insight Builder, I'm gonna say like show me the departed sequence in the past 6 months. And yeah, then for the system, we are following an agentic kind of reasoning approach. So the system
Mm-hmm.
gonna break the task into several different steps and to plan the tasks. Yeah, as you can see, we have data be written back. For the sake of performance as well as the user experience, we only showing like at the most like 10 records at the same time. But you can just choose to export the whole data to an offline like a set file. It's something they can do. And we're gonna show some like a follow-up question. If you want to have further like a drill down, then you can just follow the guideline here to ask a different follow-up question.
And
Let's
this
see.
is what you meant earlier by saying that earlier it would sort of rerun the whole thing, and now you can sort of follow up and it sort of pulls from this information.
Yeah, basically we are break down the task to different steps and do reasoning, right? And once we have the data, have the SQL available, we're gonna do some validation to ensure that the SQL is valid one. Instead of like just get whatever from LM to execute, that will very likely to cause some like errors out. And even further, if there are like empty result, like we want to tell user why we think like there are empty result, what potentially could be the adjustment they can try to ensure they have data back. For me, I'm gonna just do a breakdown by transportation mode for each month and visualize it. Yeah, this is a follow-up question to the above question. So supposedly the system is gonna return back a chart to visualize the breakdown by the condition here. So as you can see, right, we have this is a stacked column chart be written back to represent like different modes, like how many sequences are there for each month, right? And yeah, so they can play around like they can export the whole image and they can full screen. And yeah, and they can even change the chart style. For example, change to line chart instead. Yeah. So we support kind of a different like types of chart types, right? As you can see, like the chart is converted to like a different like chart style. So if user get those kind of data back and are ready to create some dashboard, they can simply click some button here. Then they can simply to drag and drop the data they have pulled out cameras on the right panel. And for example, they can also do something like this. And they can do some resizing and the layout, or whatever they want to do. And they can just go with a test dashboard and save. Then this is going to be dashboard they can
Got
refer to like in later phase.
Data.
Yeah.
And this keeps updated, like it's something that stays
Yeah.
real time, or is it a snapshot in time?
They keep updated.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And this is also where, like you said, that if there is something ambiguous, then before it does the processing, it kind of asks the user for a clarification.
Yes, if there are indeed some case where the system feel is not clear enough for the system to move on, then the system is going to ask some clarification question.
Got it. Got it. And do you folks use like multiple LLMs under the hood? Do you have a specific LLM that you use?
Yeah, personally, we are pretty much only use one single LLM mode, but now we are trying to do different kinds of optimization. Some different models may have a different kind of advantages. So that's something we are doing to try to exploring like a different LM combination to ensure we have a better experience for different use cases.
Got it. And on the data side, where does all of the data live in one system, or are there multiple systems or multiple sort of databases, data sources that this is coming from?
Well, if you're speaking from the whole data life cycle perspective, then from the raw data, right? Raw data is owned by different services behind the scene.
Right.
Then all those kind of raw data, we're going to go through a pipeline to flow
Mm-hmm.
into our data warehousing system. And the data warehouse system, we're going to have another layer to abstract all those natural data to analytics kind of a database. So that analytics database will going to be the one the system rely on to
Okay.
serve user questions. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. No, this is super helpful. It really helps kind of put a picture to what we've been speaking about. So thank you so much for sharing. I just have a couple more things that I wanted us to dive into. One sort of thing that we've been seeing as we interact with our customers at PromptQL is that with AI initiatives, the interaction between a business leader and a technical leader becomes so much more important than, pre-AI products where it was pretty clear, right? Like you had a button, if you want a checkout button, everybody knows what a checkout button is supposed to mean, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with, a lot of the times with AI, you're building for users that you may not entirely empathize with. You're not in their job function, and everything is very new. And again, a natural language interface means people can ask anything. So at Flexport and with your customers, like how are you bringing sort of the domain experts and business leaders into the loop? How are they a part of the product and the product building experience? What's that like for you all?
Yeah, actually, this is one of my favorite part for this whole project. That our tech teams can just sit with our domain team leaders, expertise together to build a whole product like to our clients, right? For all those like different business teams like operation, demand teams, and the customs and the finance teams,
Mm,
all give us a really, really valuable feedback at the very beginning of the Inside Builders like project. They tell us, okay, what are the like typical pain they have been like experienced in the past in terms of the data, analytics for their like clients, and we learn from them about like what's the fundamental kind of root causes. Is it purely just a data problem,
mm,
or is it experiment problem? Is something like or is it something that we can really make some changes through the AI? Then we based on the feedback, then we narrow down to the area that we really feel we need to make some changes with the AI. That's because the pattern we have been following for all the time, like along the way for Inside Builder. So we learn how they like talk about business, and we learn like what terms they use. Like we learn
mm,
what things are really getting their attention, like and are the bottlenecks for their daily scalability. So that's something we take it very seriously, and we bake all those kind of collaboration and feedback into our systems and into how we pass the questions, how we clarify the user intention, and how we mapping those kind of fields to the user question. Because like it's not solely based on our understanding about like how we're supposed
mm,
to answer the question. It's really based on the we really make our system behave like a human, right? If you want to
mm,
behave like a human, then the very first kind of resource you can leverage on is the business team themselves.
mm.
That how they typically interact with their clients on daily basis, right?
Right.
What are typical the challenges or like the mis communication that they encountered before, so that once we get all those data back in the system, we're gonna reevaluate them, and at the
Mm,
end of the day, then the AI has to be capable to continuously digesting all those kind of feedbacks and to make sure like their behavior really sounds like this
mm.
is your data analytic assistant, not like
Right.
like a system-wise kind of concept, right? We want
Yeah.
to build like assistant like AI
Yeah.
system for analytics. Yeah, that's the only way,
Yeah.
to involve the people who are concerned about the user experience and to make some changes on behalf of them to empower their clients to have a better experience for data. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. We've been talking about this a lot in terms of like, finding your dance partner. That's the phrase we've been using. It's like there's that pairing of a business leader and a tech leader is just so important, especially in these early days when, we're rolling out AI products, but the adoption is key. And without this partnership, adoption is just going to be something that really takes a hit. My sort of I have two sort of, tangential questions. One is, what's been the most surprising thing for you over the last, few months of both building and, rolling the software out in maybe a domain like logistics or just in AI in terms of building this product? What is something that's been surprising to you? What you thought it would be different and the experience has been different?
Yeah. Well, looking back the whole journey till now, then I really didn't expect that how much of this journey would become, to come down to understanding the people, just as what we talked about, like uh, earlier, right? Like it's not only about like
Right.
let's say it's about like, understanding the people, not just data. So you go into thinking, okay, it's not technical problem, right?
Mm,
Just simply like build a model or write some prompt to the output, everything will gonna work. No, that's not the case. Right? For logistics is really messy. Right? It's really a scattered kind of an industry. And for edge cases, so the real challenge isn't just to get the AI to run. It's like
mm,
it's getting it to understand your business, to understand your data, and understand your users. That's the most like a surprising kind of thing for me till now, like for this kind of AI product. That tells me I need empathy for the business, right? We need tight collaboration with the people in the trenches, and you really don't need a perfect foundation to start, right? Like you have
mm,
really people who are really like a proficient in AI domain and a really good kind of experienced engineers to kick it off. You do need to like just kick it off, right? But you do need to start somewhere real and grounded in the
mm,
actual problem. That's where the
mm,
magic will begin. For my team, right, like we have zero kind of AI knowledge and experience back to the time when we decide to
mm.
do the builder, right? But I'm really super proud about the achievement the team has already delivered so far. That's really something like treasure a lot. And also like for the teams like who are just want to start out their like AI product, I would say
Mm.
don't wait for perfection. Just a start.
Right.
Just a start your
Right.
idea. Everything will
Yeah.
gonna make the way out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess, and my final question is, what is AI adoption like within Flexport? Like not your products, but like in terms of just AI that you all are using, like your team, maybe other teams across how much AI is being used, what are you seeing in terms of just adoption within Flexport?
Yeah, I would say Flashpoint has been using AI for quite a long time, not just for LLM. We have been using like machine learning and enhanced learning for quite a long time. And
Mm,
actually, Inside Builder is just one of the examples that we externally announced that we leverage the LLM to power our user to do this kind of data analytics. But internally, we have quite a like also like a system. They have already adopting AI in different domains, right? Spanning from like the visibility, like the shipment, like where the shipment, right? Like we have to make sure like we have a relatively accurate kind of estimation about like when your shipment will going to arrive at which port. And we have
mm,
our internal like forwarding application platform that we break down different tasks into different like we call it work item. You can think that as tasks need to be done by some operation people, and we are working on this kind of automation, right? This kind of automation we're going to be driven by different kind of mechanism like integration as well as some like a AI triggered kind of automation, either through like email parsing or like document digitization, all those kind of things we have been doing AI attempt, right? We have adopted AI for like lots of different like use cases, and also we have like a voice agent that's been like developed by Convoy team that like whenever you want to have some like external communication, then we're going to have AI to automatically trigger a call to our trackers to communicate the businesses. I would say lots of different like omni-channel. They have a like
Yeah.
a AI application as well that we are going to make sure like your inventory are never auto stop. Right, there's something that we announced like back to like a winter release of last year. So the adoption in Flexport is really amazing. I would say due to time constraint, I don't have time to go through every single aspect. But I would say like AI, we're gonna leverage AI and then invest in AI in the area that really matter to Flex and to Flexport clients. Yeah,
Awesome.
that has been the
No, that's
story.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and any favorite tools of yours, personal tools that you've been using, that you like, share with the world?
You mean the AI tool?
Yeah, just anything, not just like export product, any particular tools that you like, that you use day to day that has
Oh,
you
yeah,
particularly
no,
like.
there's obviously like the day-to-day AI tool I use is definitely the ChatGPT, right?
Okay.
That yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one I use the most. Yeah.
Got it. Awesome. Jilong, if anyone has further questions, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, if they have some offline questions, then feel free to shoot me, like either email or like you have my contacts. Then I think it's definitely good for them to like maybe you can just consolidate the question together. Then I can
Got
just
it.
figure out like some questions, then roll back. Then you can share with the audience. Right.
Perfect. No,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time today. This was absolutely great. It was great to learn a little bit about the kinds of stuff that you all are doing and the real world complexities that you're dealing with. Thanks again for your time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much to Rajoshi and Jilong for that great conversation. If you folks do have any questions about what was discussed during that conversation, you can throw them in the Q&A section over on the right-hand side in the engagement area. We'll make sure that we catalog all these and we get a response about the questions themselves in the follow-up email that comes from this call. Let me go ahead and share my presentation again one more time. All right, next up, we're going to bring up Anushrat Gupta to talk about busting the data readiness and semantic layer myth, which is going to have a lot of tie-ins to what we just heard Rajoshi and Jilong discussing. So, Anushrat, do you want to join me up on the stage, please?
Hey, Rob. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I haven't seen you in a while, and I'm saying that ironically because Anushrat and I were in the office last night until what, about 8 p.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah, busy times over here, right? We heard a lot of things in that conversation just now about the importance of the semantic layer itself. And, from conversations that you and I have had and everybody else in the company, and it seems like everybody that's talking about enterprise scale AI, is really trying to figure out this question of, hey, how hygienic does my data have to be? And isn't that a blocker before I want to do anything AI related? So, yeah, I think we're going to hear about that from you today, right?
Yeah. And I also loved Jilong's comment on stop waiting on perfectness and start building stuff today. And that's pretty much the sentiment with today's conversation. That I'm
What's the
excited.
expression? Perfect is the enemy of good, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let me take this presentation down, and I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Awesome. Hey, folks. I'm Anushut. I lead the applied AI team here at PromptQL. And today I want to talk about busting this data readiness and the semantic layer myth, right? Like every one of us who's trying to build an AI is either waiting to perfect their data, perfect their metadata, perfect their tables, their columns, their descriptions, uh, to start building AI on top of that, or they are trying to create solutions like semantic layers and knowledge graphs and then perfecting those as well to get AI ready. But that does not work, right? Because A, you will never have it ready, and B, if even if you have it ready today, tomorrow it's going to break and it's going to get outdated instantly. So how do you make AI reliable when with the messy realities of business, right? And that is by making AI work with data just how your best analysts and best engineers work with data. They also work with data. They deliver some great results, but they don't have perfect data or documentation to work with, right? But yet they are so productive. So why should we not let the AI work on it in a similar way? So this is what the data really looks like in enterprise, right? Tell me if I'm wrong that many of you folks working in enterprises or even smaller companies, you have seen a database with a table like CUST underscore MSTR underscore table underscore V2 underscore final underscore capital final. Right? That's how we've been naming tables for so long. And inside that table, let's say there are two columns. One says customer ID new, one is a customer ID old. Which one is the right customer ID column? Some of them have null values. Some of them still might be used now that they've been deprecated. You have columns which are named poorly that it's up to the human or the AI's interpretation to understand what that column really means. What kind of values does it have? Like if there's a Boolean column called is active, does it have 1 or a 0? Does it have a Y or an N or like a true or a null? Right? These kinds of things represent the reality of enterprise data. While you might have like similar data or data that you use to join across multiple systems, but now that is also stored in very different ways. Let's say one database that you have, which has a customer ID, which is a number 1234, but another data store where the customer ID has actually like a prefix, like a CUST underscore 1234. Now, how would you create this kind of an implicit relationship and then do joins across these two sources without being able to define like three clear foreign key relationships? That is what uh, the reality of an enterprise data is, and that this is something that plagues every single business out there. So how do we solve this, right? Like, do we start a month-long or 2-year-long exercise to start cleaning up this stuff? Like, one of our customers, they were like, okay, 5-6 years ago, they're like, we'll standardize everything. We'll send a memo internally in the company that everyone, this is the way to name tables and columns. This is how you keep your data, and then there's to be a complete standard across the company. I mean, it took 18 months. It was 40% complete, and that thing was abandoned. Like people stopped following those rules because no one else was doing it. Then there was this master data management team that said that they're going to fix this. They're still working on it. Now, 2 years ago, with AI coming in, they were like, let's add a semantic layer which understands my tables and columns, my data and stuff like that. That's great. So and they try to implement that, but every single time a new piece of data comes, the business evolves, definitions evolve, the semantic layer just breaks. Like, and then you spend more time maintaining the semantic layer than actually getting value from it. And now, still today, we are waiting for perfect data, but still waiting, right? We're still not there. So what's the solution, right? So semantic layers. Semantic layers is like where you give LLMs context about your business, right? Yes, tables and column descriptions is great, but then also like you want to give context on business terms, business definitions. Let's say customer acquisition cost is equal to marketing spend divided by new customers. Now that's something which you have put in your semantic layer. But that's not enough, right? Like when you say marketing spend, like what does it mean? What kind of marketing spend? There are so many different places we can see marketing spend. When we say new customers, what does new even mean, right? Like is it like their first purchase? Were they reactivated? Are the trial customers included into that? Things like those. Then over what time period are we looking at this cost, right? Like if I want to do some analysis, strategy planning, financial planning, do I look at my historical customer acquisition cost, last 1 year, last 1 month? Like what is it that my business cares about? So all of these kinds of things, which you all know, working in your business, right, for so many years, you understand, like it comes intuitively to you that what should I be optimizing for? What kind of what does a term exactly mean? What kind of analysis do I want to do on top of my data? But for an AI, that's not implicit, right? We have to explicitly tell the AI everything. And how much of this context will we keep adding to the AI? We'll keep discovering new stuff that my AI does not have context to, and we'll have to keep adding it, adding it, adding it. And maintaining semantic layers just seems like an impossible task. So someone asked me that, okay, but what about knowledge graphs, right? Knowledge graphs are what map entity relationships, right? And then I can have, give my AI complete context about my data domain. Sure. So let's take a very simple knowledge graph where you have sales information, right? Sales data, where there is a deal has a stage has a date, or a deal also has an owner, right? Now, when my business user asks a question like, show me my deals at risk, very simple question, but hidden with so much business context, right? When I say at risk, what does that at risk even mean? My knowledge graph knows that deals have a stage and stage have a close date, but the definition of at risk is something that that business user knows. Like if I were an intern in this team and my leader asked me, show me deals at risk, I would ask them back, wait, when you say risk, what do you mean? Like, how do we define risk in our business, right? AI probably does not do that. It'll start making some assumptions. It'll start trying to give you some answer, but that answer may or may not be correct. How do I let my AI know that that's what risk means, and how do I capture that kind of a thing in a knowledge graph, right? So probably that's also not the solution. So the problem really is that the AI in your business today, the latest and greatest LLMs that you have today, they speak a certain language which is not your business's language. Because when your team says GM, it might mean gross margin or general manager or General Motors. I don't know. Right? When the sales team says conversion, that's different from when a marketing team says conversion versus a finance team says conversion. When you say what happened in the last quarter, really depends on your definition of the quarter, right? Because a typical AI will assume quarter starts in January, ends in March. But for my business, the quarter starts in February and ends in April. That's what happens at PromptQL as well. For what time zone are we talking about? Right? What is the definition of an active customer? All of these things are these tacit pieces of knowledge that you know working in your business, but your AI does not speak the same language. And hence, working with AI feels so clunky and prone to breaking, right? And so, as I said, right, like that, this tribal knowledge that is in every single analyst or engineer's head in your business today, which makes them so productive, which allows them to understand ambiguity, which allows them to operate on messy data. All of that is missing with AI today, and we have not been able to crack that code so that we can start making AI reliable on these business questions asked by business users or customers, right? So, how do we go about building this? So the traditional approach is that you have a human who maintains a semantic layer on a knowledge graph, which you keep on updating every single time something new happens in the business, in the data. It keeps keeps getting broken, and then you still keep updating it. AI tries to use it, does not work, right? So with PromptQL, what we have tried to do is build something called an agentic semantic layer. So what that means is, with every interaction that you have with the AI, with every single time you had to give AI feedback, you had to course correct AI, AI should be learning. It should learn from those conversations. It should learn from the patterns it sees in the data. If it realizes that, oh, this column has null values, I should remember that so that the next time I'm doing that analysis, I make sure I impute those values or I handle those values gracefully. So these kinds of pieces of information that your intern who was super smart, was really thrifty, really worked hard to understand the domain, today is an expert, right? This interaction design with data, with AI, with business users is the same thing that AI should have, right? So that they also become like start as good as your smartest intern and then become as good as your best analyst in the company. So with PromptQL, that's what we have built. So the basic architecture of PromptQL, which some of you have seen some of these calls before, know that the number one key innovation that we did with PromptQL is not letting the LLM answer your question at all, first of all. So not letting your AI answer the question, only using the AI for what it is good at and making it behave like a human, right? A human, when I ask them a question, they don't just directly give me an answer, right? They say, cool, let me go back. Let me try to figure out how to answer this question. Let me come up with a few steps. Okay, I need to probably define your question as this more concrete definition of like business terms and calculations that I need to do. Then I need to go into these 7 data systems, pull out the data, so write some code, and then run an analysis, also writing some code, And then finally, the output of that code is my answer, which I'm going to give it to you, right? So your human did not generate the answer in their head, right? They just use their head to do this kind of a planning. And that's exactly what we use AI to do for at PromptQL as well, where let's only use the LLM for what it is good at, which is planning. So a PromptQL LLM will come up with the PromptQL plan. And this plan is something which is very understandable and auditable and even editable by the user. But also it's executable by a deterministic system, because this plan looks like a domain-specific language which can be executed in a programmatic runtime. So the AI only generates that plan, and we execute that plan on a deterministic runtime. And that execution talks to the distributed query engine under the hood, which pulls the right data, does the right analysis, and then finally extracts the right answer from the data and presents it back to the user without involving the LLM in generating the answer, so that we don't risk any scope of hallucination. So that's great, right? Like if I show you PromptQL, how it works, like something very simple. Who are my key customers? Let's say it's connected to a SaaS company's internal database. So if I ask a question like this, first of all, when I say key customers, right, like what does key even mean? So let's see how PromptQL handles this question. It says, okay, I'm going to join the user's project's invoice item table to calculate a bunch of these things and filter important users based on this criteria. See, it has some business knowledge about me, that how I try to define key customers, right? It knows that important customers are those with more than 3 projects and more than 20,000 average revenue per project. So this is great. So I have like 8 of these key customers, but maybe I add a more strict filter, because no, that's maybe the business definition has evolved. That's not what key customer means anymore. I'll edit this query plan and be like, no, this is actually 4 projects, and this has become $30,000 average revenue per project. And yeah, like I'll be like new definition. Now my AI needs to learn from that, right? Because PromptQL is completely editable, right? It's completely transparent and explainable in how it approaches the problem. I have this ability to course correct it, right? And once I've done that, now this goes back into the learning loop for the AI. PromptQL learns from that and realizes, okay, your definitions have changed. I should adapt to that. And next time I ask the same question, I'm going to get the same analysis, because it has learned that my definition of an important customer has changed, right? So what allows us to do that is the fact that we have this learning mechanism, which starts turning the PromptQL LLM, the PromptQL model or the PromptQL plan into your business's model and the business's plan, right? Let's say you are in a company called Acme. So every time PromptQL learns with interactions with you or the business user, it starts improving the model under the hood with the semantic context, with fine tuning, with whatever else is required to capture that information, so that next time if I ask that question, I do not miss it, right? So now the foundational model has become an Acme QL model. And the Acme QL model will generate Acme QL plans spoken in the Acme QL language. And now I can do many things that I really wanted to do. So now if I ask a question like this, right, like which enterprise deals are at risk, this Q and Y? Now this question has so much business context in it, which we don't even realize. Like first, the AI needs to understand that this Q means current quarter. That is the lingo that we use in our company. And when I say quarter, our Acme's fiscal quarter is offset by a month, right? So the current quarter is August to October, or if it's Q2, then it ends in July, right? Then define at risk. At risk means that a stage, like a deal which is at a 3+ stage with a close date in Q3, and there hasn't been any activity in over 14 days, or it has been pushed one time, or the champion has departed from the company, or the budget is not confirmed. That is what defines risk. Now, this definition of risk, the AI must have learned at some point when it was working with a business user, right? Then it needs to understand that, okay, opportunity data is coming from Salesforce. When I say enterprise segment, enterprise means that their ARR is more than $100,000. Then the activity data is coming from outreach. I need to look at the call recordings in Gong. I need to look at the email engagement metrics. And then finally create this risk score. And the way we define the risk metrics is like 40% activity recency, 30% relationship strength, 30% budget status. And now do all of this math to finally surface the enterprise deals at risk. Right? So all of this, the AI needed to learn at some point. And now with an approach like this is very much possible, so that I don't have to manually keep managing the metadata or the semantic layer to keep my AI up to date and informed about what my business really means. And now you can ask these questions in any kind of business, right? You can ask questions in the financial services business, like show me borrowers who might need proactive outreach before they become delinquent. So much tacit knowledge inside this question. Show me which units have concerning readmission patterns and need intervention, like a healthcare question. Which production lines are underperforming and what's the root cause? Manufacturing question. Where should we prioritize safety stock investments to avoid stockouts without overinvesting? Right? This kind of planning I want to do with my inventory management and supply chain. So let's just look at how PromptQL is able to learn these kinds of things, right? Some of you might have seen this demo, but for those who are new, I want to just reinforce the fact that how the PromptQL agentic semantic layer learns. So I'm here in a instance where I've connected PromptQL to a database which has horribly named tables and columns, right? Something like if I ask a question, who are the employees that work in departments with more than $10,000 USD budget? Now, when I ask this question, because the data is so bad, there's no way any AI or even a human for that system can answer that question, right? But with PromptQL, what happens is it says that first I need to analyze the schema to understand how departments and budgets are even represented, because I see that your tables are named as smorg, plugins, or which means nothing to me. So first, let me try to see what kind of data you have. And then based on top of that, I will try to understand how to approach the problem and how to answer your question. So first, it did this to understand how to answer that question. And I can also be like sample data from each table and confirm if your assumptions were correct, something like that. So in fact, it already did. Looking at the data, I noticed the schema appears to store employee first names as Flim, employee last names as Flam. So it even if your data is so horrible, a smart AI will look at the data to even understand what's happening, or rely on you to course correct itself, right? So now I can see the actual data. That's what it really means. Let me modify the query so that I can correctly answer your question. Previously, it was wrong, my approach. So now it's saying, okay, this is the new answer. But I'm also like, no, this doesn't seem right. Millions of dollars in some departments, that's a lot of budget. Actually, because the data is in cents, not dollars. That's why you see millions in numbers. So again, poor data, no context for the AI. So how does it answer the question? It's like, oh, cool, I'll just divide by 100 and give you the right answer. Makes sense. So again, it just modifies its query plan, executes the query plan, and then gives me the answer. Okay, actually the answer is just 2 of these customers are in departments with budget more than 10,000. Now, all of this has happened. Now, how is PromptQL learning through all of these things? So let me show you the technology that powers the learning, right? It's something, it's a feature called autograph, which keeps running in the background to keep analyzing these conversations that we are having, keep analyzing the data that's under the hood, and keep improving the semantic layer. So one of the examples is to update the metadata of the semantic layer. When I say metadata, I mean like the column descriptions, the table descriptions, right? So I can simply be like last one thread. So I improve the metadata using insights from the last one thread. I'm just manually triggering autograph, but autograph just keeps running on its own in the background to agentically keep improving the semantic layer. Now it says, okay, I'm going to get this current schema definitions that we have, so that I make sure that I understand what the current state is. That then I'm going to get the thread data, all the conversations we have had, and then based on that, I need to like make informed decisions on how to make improvements to that metadata. So like, okay, based on the conversation threads I've analyzed, I can now generate improvements. I need to create improvements for each table, the purpose of the tables, the meaning of the key columns, important data types, like the monetary values are in cents, all of these things, right? Like that we just spoke about. And see, it created this kind of great description. And it said, in the department, in organization, the department budget quality is stored in cents. For example, the value this represents $12,000. See, see how great it is able to create this kind of description. And now it says, would you like me to apply these changes to the metadata? I'm like, yeah, apply these changes. So when I say yes, it's going to create a new build of the semantic layer. You see all of these builds created by by autograph. So the semantic layer itself is version controlled, and it creates immutable builds. Either you can manually create them, or you can let the autograph create it, right? And every build is immutable, and you have the ability to basically roll back to a previous build, run your evals on a specific build, so that you know any changes happen are still do not break the system, right? And here it says that, okay, I'm about to push these changes. Does that look okay to you? Right? So that's what allows us to build such powerful AI, which keeps learning from your business context. So going back now with this, today, then PromptQL becomes this veteran analyst, right? Or even a veteran engineer. Like PromptQL, you can use PromptQL not just to do your data analysis, but you can ask it to do some kind of data automation, create business logic on the fly, and then one-click deploy that business logic. And every single time a new customer comes in, make sure you trigger these 7 workflows, and then send me a confirmation email that the workflows have been completed. So all of these things can just happen with simple natural language prompts. So now on day one, when your AI didn't know what enterprise means, how do customer IDs match, does not know what quarters mean. But by day 30, it had understood so many business terms. It understands, it has created these, mapped out these relationships across systems by discovering patterns in them, understand different calculation metrics, and then now is able to give you 100% accuracy on your complex questions. So remove the accuracy, get the accuracy bottleneck, and stop waiting for your perfect data. Just deploy AI, which keeps improving with you, with the data, with the user, right? And these are some quotes from some of our customers that a director of data at a Fortune 500 food chain. They were like, we tried building things ourselves. We tried building semantic layers ourselves, our AI architecture ourselves. We evaluated hundreds of vendors, and then finally chose PromptQL for this reliable AI. And another CEO of a high growth fintech company was like, PromptQL was able to demonstrate 100% accuracy on the hardest question in their eval set, which they had planned to solve next year. And today, just out of the box, PromptQL delivered 100% accuracy. So that is PromptQL. Stop waiting for perfect data. Start getting perfect answers today. And back to you, Rob.
That's awesome, Anusha. Thank you. When you were talking, it started making me think. Do you remember the name Alan Kay? I believe he was a engineer at Xerox, and he's kind of the one that's like responsible for GUIs in general. So, depending on the age of people on the call, this can be well before anybody's recollection or memory. But I think he has a quote that says something along the lines of "Context is worth 80 IQ points," and I think that we've hit the nail on the head with that here. Awesome. All right, folks, that's our call today. Thanks so much for joining in. If you have any questions, you can still throw them in that Q&A section while I'm wrapping things up right now. We have a call coming up next month as well. You can find all the information at promptql.io/events. Come check us out. If you have any questions, like we said, throw them over there, and we'll see you folks in the next one. Anusha, thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, folks.